In today's video, I'm going to be determining the best player in the NBA currently from each different age. I know a lot of other NBA YouTubers have already made videos like these determining the best player from each age. I'm here today to do an updated version of it, and I did make this list for this video on February 1st, so if anyone had a birthday in between then and when I'm uploading this, let me know in the comments, but we're basically going to be doing this as if the players' ages are on February 1st of 2021. I think this is going to be a really fun video to make, kind of allows us to look at the different generations of talent that we have in the league today. So it's going to be a great video, and let's get started. Starting off, of course, with age 19, we've got three candidates for this one. They are Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, and LaMelo Ball. The top three Rookie of the Year candidates so far, the top three picks in the 2020 NBA draft, and so far we have to go with the player that's been the best in the short season so far, and that is LaMelo Ball. I'm not a big fan of LaMelo. I don't think he's going to have a great career in the NBA. I actually think he'll turn out exactly like his brother Lonzo, but so far his playmaking has been just what we've expected. He's been scoring pretty consistently and is helping the Charlotte Hornets off the bench, and so far is the best player at age 19. For 20-year-olds, it's easily Zion. There's really not a lot of competition here. The second closest would be RJ Barrett, but so far this season, Zion's been really dominant and is easily the best at his age and probably will be for a while. We know how dominant he is inside the paint and rebounding the basketball. So far this year, he's putting up around 23 points and 8 rebounds per game, and in my opinion is a future MVP of the league, and as he continues to develop, I think one day once he hits his prime, he's going to be one of the best in the league. For 21-year-olds, the best player here is easily Luka Doncic. The only competition is Ja Morant, but Luka should easily get this one, and so far in his young career has really shown promise of maybe going down as one of the greatest of all time by the end of his career. He's averaged almost a triple-double for his career so far, averaging around 27 points for his career, an incredible overall scorer, rebounder, playmaker, and a pretty good defender at times, and in my opinion is the top 10 player in the league without a doubt, and is the best player at the age 21 easily. For 22, the best player here is Jason Tatum, who so far this season has really proven that he should be considered a top 15 player in the league without a doubt, and maybe even a top 10 player. There is some competition for this one. There was Trae Young as well, along with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but the difference between those two, especially Jason Tatum and Trae Young, is Jason Tatum's defense. His defense is very good. I think he is probably a top 30 defender in the league, a very good rebounder, and can score at all three levels, is especially good at shooting the pull-up three, and so far this season is scoring around 27 points per game. Jason Tatum is an incredible young player, and in my opinion is definitely the best at age 22. For 23-year-olds, this is where it starts to get interesting, and I have to go with Bam Adebayo, but some honorable mentions go to Brandon Ingram and Jamal Murray. If Jamal Murray would consistently play the way that he did in the playoffs, he would probably get this one, but he doesn't because he's a little bit inconsistent with his scoring. And then for Brandon Ingram, the difference between him and Bam is really just defense, and how Bam is probably a top 5 defender in the league, very good at protecting the rim, playing down low, defending centers, but also he's very versatile and can defend anyone on the floor. So I still think he's a top 20 player in the league because of how good he is defensively, how he's a good playmaker on offense as a center, can score around 20 points per game. If Ingram keeps up the way he's playing offensively, he might get this one by the end of the year, but because of Bam's defense, I'm giving it to him. Now we got 24-year-olds, which is easily the hardest decision of the video to make. We've got 5 guys in contention here: Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons, Jaylen Brown, and Domantas Sabonis. I mean, you could really go with any one of them. You could consider any of them top 30 players, and for me, I narrowed it down to Booker, Mitchell, and Jaylen Brown, and ultimately I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown. I mean, the reason I narrowed it down to those 3 was because of how they have the ability to score 25 points per game when they're at their best, especially Jaylen Brown this season, and the reason I'm ultimately going with him is because of how good of a scorer he's been at the rim this season and shooting the 3. He's really improved there, but the main difference is defense. Jaylen Brown is an all-defensive caliber player, which Booker and Mitchell are not, and that's the difference and why I'm going with Jaylen Brown for the best 24-year-old in the NBA. Moving on to 25-year-olds, for this one I've got Nikola Jokic. He's playing like an MVP this season, averaging a triple-double, being one of the best playmakers in the league, if not the best playmaker as a center. And he's scoring at an incredible rate too. His jump shot, especially from 3 in the pick and pop, is absolutely lethal. And I do have some honorable mentions for this one, which go to Karl Anthony Towns and Zach LaVine. And if they want to get this spot for the best 25-year-old in the league, they're going to have to improve their defense, and they're not as good playmakers as Jokic. Nikola Jokic is playing like an MVP this season, and we still have to remember that he's probably not even in his prime. Watch out for Jokic in the future. For 26-year-olds, it's between Giannis Antetokounmpo and Joel Embiid. Joel is playing like an MVP candidate this year without a doubt. I still have to go with Giannis though, just because he's the back-to-back MVP right now, how good he is in transition, and how Joel's scoring might not be completely sustainable. It's such a close comparison because of how Embiid is playing this year. They are both all defensive caliber defenders. As we know, Giannis has won a DPOY, and Joel has made an all-defensive team. They are great rim protectors, incredible at scoring in the post and at the rim. And for now, I have to give the ever so slight edge to Giannis. For the age of 27, this is where players start to get into their prime, and both of these players that are in contention for it are in their prime currently right now for me, and it's between Anthony Davis and Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is leading the league in scoring so far this year, and if I had to choose for this year, I'd actually go with Beal. But overall, we have to go with Anthony Davis because of how good of a defender he is. He's without a doubt a DPOY type of talent, and is a top 10 player in the league because of his defensive play and how versatile of a scorer he is. It is a close comparison. It's tough to compare different positions like this, but because of AD's defense, he gets this one for sure. For the age of 28, it's between two very hard to compare players because they have completely different play styles, and it's Kyrie Irving and Rudy Gobert. And really it comes down to, what do you value more out of offense and defense? And as you guys know, I value defense a ton, and I always bring them into play when it's talking about a comparison like this. But ultimately, I do think offense is a little bit more important, and because of how versatile Kyrie's offensive game is, we have to give the slight edge to him. But shout out to Rudy Gobert, man, because he's playing incredible this season and is a DPOY candidate for sure. He's already won 2 and is consistently keeping that up, and is leading the Jazz right now to the #1 seed in the East. This is a tough comparison. Ultimately, you have to go with Kyrie, but shout out to Rudy for being a goated defender. For 29-year-olds, the best player here is Kawhi Leonard. I'm just going to go out and say it. I still think that Kawhi is easily the second best player in the league. In my opinion, he's a top 5 defender and top 5 on offense. His scoring patches is extremely versatile, dominant, and usually, I know he choked last year in the playoffs in Game 7, but he usually is very good in the clutch moments of games, especially in the playoffs. And then defensively, he's never going to get beat off the dribble. He can pretty much guard anyone on the court, and you have to have an extremely good offensive bag to score one-on-one against Kawhi Leonard. I still think he's the second best in the league. Other great 29-year-olds are Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum, obviously not on the same level as Kawhi though. For 30-year-olds, this one goes to Damian Lillard, who for me is still a top 10 player in the league, has an extremely good scoring package, and can literally score from anywhere on the floor, at the rim, in the mid-range, and from 3, and they call people like that 3-level scorers, but we're calling him a 4-level scorer because of how deep his range can get. His scoring is incredible. He's averaging 28 points per game this year. Honorable mentions for this one go to Paul George and Klay Thompson, who are probably better defenders, maybe more efficient sometimes, but not as good playmakers, and not on the same scoring level. For 31-year-olds, it's between James Harden and Jimmy Butler. This is a closer comparison than you might think because of how good Jimmy Butler's defense is and how clutch he is scoring the basketball in the biggest moments of seasons and the biggest moments of games. And James Harden's scoring has dropped a little bit this season from what he's usually putting up, but his playmaking has gone up. He's still definitely the better scorer and the more efficient scorer, and even though Jimmy's defense makes it really close, I still gotta go with Harden. For 32-year-olds, this is probably the second hardest comparison of the video. It's between Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. These two get compared to each other all the time when it comes to all-time rankings, and in terms of who's better now, scoring ability probably has to go to Steph just because of the degree of difficulty of shots he takes, how he's carrying his Warriors team right now. Both of them are putting up around 30 per game, but I have to go with Steph just because of how good he is from 3. Playmaking definitely goes to Steph, and really that's why I'm ultimately giving it to him. Defense goes to KD, but I definitely think KD's defense is a little bit overrated sometimes. And think about this, if Steph Curry Curry was KD's height, this wouldn't even be a debate at all. So I give the benefit of the doubt to Steph a little bit because of his height, and just because of his scoring and playmaking, I have to give the ever so slight edge to him. It's a very close comparison, and all time I'd also give it to Steph as well, just because of his MVPs and how he won a championship without KD. That's a talk for another day, but the Steph versus KD comparison is very close, whether you're talking about right now or all time. For 33-year-olds right now, there's really not that much talent, but we do have two pretty good players from the Utah Jazz, Mike Conley and Joe Ingles. They're the two best at age 33. They're both very good scorers, especially from three, and really good playmakers. I have to give it to Conley just because of his athleticism is a little bit better than Joe Ingles, and he's scoring at the rim and in mid-range a lot better, but it actually is a pretty close comparison. I like Joe Ingles as a player as well, but Mike Conley is the best player at age 33 right now in the NBA. For 34-year-olds, we got Kyle Lowry. Kyle's still probably a top 35 player in the league, and it's really incredible what he's doing at age 34. He's one of the best older veteran players in the league right now. He's still putting up around 20 points per game consistently, a great playmaker, still an all-defensive type of talent on the defensive end of the floor. The only other competition here at age 34 could be Lou Williams, but I'd definitely take Kyle, and he's still going strong at age 34. For age 35, it's between Chris Paul and LaMarcus Aldridge. We definitely still have to go with Chris Paul. His longevity too has been insane. It's really rare to have such an incredible impact still at the age of 35 or 36, like Chris Paul has done, and he's still one of, if not the best playmaker in the NBA, especially as a point guard. His mid-range is still on point, and he's not obviously in his prime, but he's still making an incredible impact, and will probably push the Phoenix Suns along with Devin Booker into the playoffs this year at age 35. For 36-year-olds, it's obviously LeBron. No competition here, and it's just insane what LeBron's doing at this age in the NBA. His longevity is incredible. I've never seen anyone in NBA history do what he's doing right now, and he's probably the leading candidate, at least in my opinion, for MVP so far in 2021. It's insane how LeBron is still the best player in the league, and you look back at his draft class, and you see guys like Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Carmelo Anthony, all pretty much out of the league. Carmelo's still in there, but he's not in his prime at all. LeBron's still at his prime at age 36, so it's incredible what he's doing in the league right now. For the rest of the ages, age 37 is Andre Iguodala. He's the only active player there. Age 38 is Tyson Chandler. He's the only active player there. Age 39 is Kyle Korver. He's the only active player there. And then for age 40, it's my boy Udonis Haslem. I love this guy. He's one of the best leaders in the NBA. He doesn't play anymore, but he's still technically in the NBA, and he's a great mentor for the young Heat players. So there you have it. That is the best player in the NBA from each age, from age 19 all the way up to age 40. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's very fun to make for me. Make sure you leave down in the comments everything that you agree with and everything that you disagree with, and if you'd make any changes to any of the ages here for the best player. Thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next video.